Hi all, this is Mercy, and welcome to the last video of the semester/class. I had chapter 37, which is entitled Common Threads in Communication Theories. Now, as a person who loves to read the last chapter of any book, this was one of my favorite chapters. I love seeing everything getting tied up so nicely, and this chapter did a good job at doing that. And so, let's hop in. So, this chapter looked to join the theories in this book with each other and with major communication concepts, and I feel it did that very well. It classified 10 recurring principles that appear in different theories. The first principle is motivation. Communication is guided by our social need for connection, achievement, and control, as well as a desire to reduce our anxiety. Now, they identify 5 motives underneath these motivations. They are a need for affiliation, need for achievement, need for control, need to reduce uncertainty, and need to reduce anxiety. Now back to the principles. The second principle is self-image. Communication alters and is altered by our sense of identity, which is shaped within the context of our culture. In face negotiation theory, face is defined as our public self-image. The third principle is credibility. Our verbal and non-verbal messages are confirmed or discounted by others' judgment of our ability and character. In rhetoric, the term credibility or ethical proof was used to describe the credibility of a speaker that raises the probability of a speech being persuasive. The fourth principle is expectation. What we expect to hear or see will impact our perception, translation, and reaction during an interaction. In the expectancy violation theory, it proposes that we respond to a violation of our expectations depending on the violation variance and communicator reward variance. The fifth principle is audience adoption. By carefully creating a person-centered message specifically for the situation, we increase the possibility of achieving our communication goals. In the elaboration likelihood model, it argues that the persuader first needs to assess whether the target audience is ready and able to think through issue-relevant arguments that support the advocate's position. The sixth principle is social construction. Persons in conversation co-construct their own social realities and are simultaneously shaped by the worlds they create. In media ecology theory, it describes a more cunning construction process, summed up in the statement that we shape the tools and they in turn shape us. The seventh principle is shared meaning. Communication is successful to the extent that it shares a common interpretation of the signs people use. In symbolic convergence theory, it says shared group fantasies create symbolic convergence equals shared meaning. The eighth principle is narrative. We respond in a good way to stories and dramatic imagery with which we can identify. In gender-elect styles theory, it sees differences between men and women and how they tell stories. The ninth principle is conflict. Unfair communication stifles needed conflict. Healthy communication can make conflict productive. In the critical theory of communication in organizations, it believes that companies would benefit more with more conflict. The 10th principle is dialogue. Dialogue is clear conversation that often creates unexpected relational outcomes due to people's profound respect for distinct voices. In the muted group theory, it suggests that it's difficult for women to take part in dialogue while they are speaking in a man-made language and where the rules for its uses are controlled by men. The final part of this chapter was called Unraveling the Threads, with which I quite agreed. And at this point, the 10 threads may be jumbled up in your mind like loose bits of string that are tangled up in a drawer. I know mine definitely was. But this figure should help you as it helps. As you can see, all the theories in the textbook are listed on the left-hand side of the screen, and all the principles are on the top of the screen. The dots in between down the threads signify where each principle touches into each theory. This was very, very helpful to me, and I hope it's very helpful to you as well.